Hello and welcome to St Peter Mancroft, whether you're here in person or watching online. If you are looking round the building, feel free to carry on doing so. My name is Ros Wright and I am an ordinand, a trainee priest with the Diocese of Norwich. I'm doing a placement here at St Peter Mancroft. 2024 is not just an election year. It's perhaps the election year. Not my words, but those of Time magazine a few months ago. I quote, "More voters than ever in history will head to the polls as at least 64 countries, plus the European Union, are meant to hold national elections." And that's nearly 50% of the global population, by the way. So, lots of elections. I wonder if you're the sort of person who shouts at the TV or the radio every time a politician speaks. Or the sort who loves politics, watching every party political broadcast, relishing the news, following elections avidly, or even fighting them. Whatever your view on politics, I bet you have an opinion on one or more of the issues of the day. These, after all, are the things which affect us, aren't they? The things we care about. Not ideologies or manifestos, but issues. So what are those big issues? Artificial intelligence? The rise of the robots? Or, perhaps more insidiously, those little apps which we seem to depend on for modern living, and there's all the data that they collect. Terrorism, another terrorist attack last weekend, devastating the lives of some and scaring the many. Illness, we heard last week about the cancer diagnosis of the Princess of Wales. She's one of millions dealing with difficult health situations, having to reorder her life. Immigration. More and more people are making precarious journeys to British shores and between different countries and regions. What are the benefits and challenges of immigration in a global society? Conflict, Ukraine, Gaza, and elsewhere. Discrimination on the grounds of gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, age, ethnicity. Cost of living, climate change, COVID, the list goes on. And I wonder whether all these elections will actually achieve much change. Not because all politicians are corrupt or self-serving, because they are not, but because the scale and complexity of these problems is such that any number of elected representatives is hardly going to make a dent in them. And is it their responsibility anyway? Now, just in case this is all getting a bit too heavy and depressing for a sunny Wednesday just before Easter, let me tell you of a heartwarming story that I read on a news website last week. BBC, actually, you can look it up. An ice cream van in Liverpool is helping to feed people on low incomes. Yup, that's right, you can go to the ice cream van and queue up and get your groceries and your life essentials at knockdown prices. It's been set up by a woman who has herself known hard times, and she wanted to help the community, and she runs mental health sessions and other community activities as well. Kind of fun, yeah? Queuing up at the ice cream van but not getting an ice cream, getting something else. And it provides a place for fellowship and where people can get help. And this sort of initiative is not unique. During COVID, I was really struck by the amount of neighbourhood action being taken to help those in need, for example, people isolating. And now we see community groups running food banks, free lunches, soup kitchens, swap shops, coffee mornings. In the library just over there, and I know it's government, but it's run by people, ordinary people, You can get free tea and coffee and help with computers, help with language, for example, English assistance. Society is not dead. Community is not dead. And I think every time you see an act of kindness performed, it's like a ray of light coming down from what, as another reflection speaker termed, a better place. A moment of brightness in what's sometimes a grey and unsettling world. So is this then how we address those big issues, how we respond to them? With direct action, with kindness, with goodness, with sacrifice, by reconnecting with the need around us and with our humanity. And we don't have to wait for an election or a politician to do that, do we? But I think there's more. For me, as a Christian, these acts of giving and loving are examples of God working in and through people. These moments of compassion reveal the best in us, the Jesus in us, and they point to a better state of being, a kingdom beyond the problems and the suffering of this world, a kingdom which we can all attain if we turn to God. So this brings me to the second and final point, faith. For me, God is a constant through all of the messiness of life, the challenges, those big issues that humanity struggles to address. It seems to me that God doesn't take away the problems, but he gives us perspective on them. He motivates us to address them, and he uses the lessons learned to form us into the people that he wants us to be, patient, loving, and giving. This is Holy Week, the sharp end of Lent. And on Friday, here, as in other churches, we will be remembering the horrible, excruciating suffering of Jesus Christ on the cross. This is an example of sacrifice. This is an example of love in action. And this is an example of suffering, human suffering, in fact. But beyond that death and that suffering is the hope, the life, and the light of the resurrection, which I invite you all to share. May you have a blessed Holy Week, and I wish you a very happy Easter. Thank you.